What is the key for sadhana? The key for sadhana is this, who's living this life. Earlier, this piece wanted to change the life because life was bringing a lot of struggle, lot of dukkha. But then one day this being realizes that, well, life is not throwing any dukkhas at you. Life is just flowing as a river. It's you who are creating all the dukkhas. So now, for the very first time in your life, instead of changing that, which is life, you start to change this, which is in your control.
So our first question is on this. This has come from two people, Mohitji from Gurugram and Manisha from Bengaluru. Their question is, Gurudev, how can we create a sacred space at home and observe MahaShivRatri in a way that supports genuine sadhana and inner stillness? Please guide us.
Yeah, and I know there have been a lot of questions around this. So those of you who are not able to come to the ashram, and those of you who would be at home experiencing MahaShivRatri, how should we do this? What should we do? So, few key things I'm going to share with you. And I've also asked our team to prepare a document on this to be shared with all of you in the group. See, Shiva is not much about rituals. He's more about your inner bhav, your inner intention. But to purify the inner intention, there are few things if we do, our intention becomes purified. Yeah. So we start from fasting. It is good if we keep fast for the entire 24-hour duration of MahaShivRatri. But for some reason, if we are not able to do that, it is all right if we do partial fasting. Or if we are not able to do that, then maybe a light meal. Because this is our Annamaya Kosha. Our system is governed a lot by the food that we consume. So for the MahaShivRatri night, if we want to be awake and do our sadhana, throughout the day, we have to make sure that we do not consume any food which interferes with our wakefulness or our intensity of sadhana. So light food is better if we can't do the fasting. So that's number one. Number two, if you're able to go to any ashram, any temple nearby during this 24-hour period and just have darshan of Shivalinga, do abhishekam if you can, or just sit there and meditate for a few minutes, it'll be very good. Because any temple, any ashram around you, these are very sacred spaces. Visiting and meditating there and receiving prasad of Shiva on that day is beautiful. If you can do that, if it's not too much of crowd, etc. Now comes the evening part. It's the night of Shiva. The whole play of energy is in the night time. So you may like to follow the ashram schedule. At the ashram, MahaShivRatri, Satsang, Yajna, Dhyana, Kirtan, everything will start at 6 p.m. on 15th of February evening and will go up to 6 a.m. on the 16th of February, which is Monday then. So it's very sacred because MahaShivRatri is culminating on a Monday. Yeah, so 12 hours of this from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following morning. If you can be awake for these 12 hours, it will be very beautiful. And if you have to be awake, please do not struggle with your wakefulness. Easy is good. Sahajata is the rule here. Yeah. So it's good if during the day, if you design your day that the day is little light, not too straining. So that, and if you want to take some rest during the day, that's also good. So that the key hours, which starts from 6 p.m. onwards, you're able to be awake as much as possible. If you're able to be awake for the entire night, it's brilliant. Yeah. So that's about being awake. But also remember, this night is just not about being physically awake. It's about wakefulness. It's about your conscious awakening. Yeah. So don't just force yourself to, keep your eyes open and, do whatever to just be awake. Yeah. Don't push yourself. There are few key durations, bindus, points on this night. The first major milestone on MahaShivRatri night is the ghadi between about 11:45 p.m. to about 12:30 a.m. So that 45 minutes is a shift time. So there will be about 3 different significant points of shifts on this night. So that's the first point of shift. If you can be awake at least till that point, brilliant. We'll talk about that. What do you do during the night? We'll go there. So first this point. Then the second bindu, the second point of transition will come at about 3:30, which is again going to last for about 45 minutes up to 4:15. That's the second key point of the shift to the Brahma Muhurta point. Yeah, very powerful. If you can be awake till that point, brilliant. And the next is about 6 a.m. Yeah, the Prata Muhurat. Yeah, the Prata Kala. When you're finally doing puja archana and bowing down and taking ashirvad from Shiva. So these are 3 key points, and out of the 3 key points, the first 2 are very, very important and very powerful. 11:45 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. to about 4:15 a.m. Yeah, so these are very, very critical shift points. What are shift points? When you will, if you're really meditating and going deep into your sadhana on MahaShivRatri night, you will experience a shift of energy, an internal shift within you and also outside at these points. It's very visible shift if you are very perceptive to be able to observe that. Now, what do we do on MahaShivRatri? It's just not about dance or celebration. It's about sadhana more. So listen to some satsangs if you can. Do some guided meditations if you can. And in that document, you will receive after the satsang. There are some links to certain satsangs on Shiva Shakti. There are links to certain guided meditations. Those of you who've been initiated into Panchakshari Nada Sadhana, that 11:45 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. time is very good to do the guided Panchakshari Nada Sadhana and then sit in mauna, silence. And when you're sitting in silence, you could either be focused on your Trikuti, which is the third eye center, or the Anahata center. Yeah. Similarly, the second shift, which is 3:30 to 4:15, again you can continue your Panchakshari Nada Sadhana in that period also. Those of you who have not been initiated into Panchakshari Nada Sadhana, you can just on your own chant Panchakshari Nada Mantra prefixed by the Pranava Om, which is Om Namah Shivaya. Chant it for, let's say, about 108 times and then just sit in pure silence. This is the night of dhyana. As much silence as you can maintain, as much dhyana you can do on this night is beautiful. In between, to support your awakening, if you want to listen to some kirtan, some chants of Shiva, please do that. The idea is, as long as we are awake on this night, we embrace or we create the energy of Shiva Tattva around us through any content that we consume. You listening to any podcast, you're listening to any satsangs, make sure it's Shiva Satsang. You're listening to any chant, you're listening to any kirtan, make sure it invokes the remembrance and longing for Shiva in you. So these are some of the things that you can build to support your sadhana for the entire night. At ashram we do yagyas also. But for you at home, because this is the night time sadhana, I do not recommend doing yagyas in the night time at home, right? Unless you are an abhyast, you are a practitioner of certain yagyas, then it's okay for you to go ahead and do night yagyas. But if that's not a regular thing that you do as part of your sadhana or practice, then I will not recommend you to do night yagyas. However, if still you want to do yagya, the daytime is all right for yagya. What is the daytime? The 15th morning till sunset time. And also the 16th sunrise, Pratakala, to 16th sunset time. So both days, during the day only, at home, if you want, even without any panditji, etc., you can do a simple yagya, or maybe you can, while doing the yagya, you can chant Panchakshari mantra, or any other mantra that you've been either initiated into or you feel very connected to. And at the end of every cycle of the mantra that you chant, you just do swaha and pour whatever ahutis you want to pour in the yagya. I do not know what kind of yagya some of you may be following, but strictly only from sunrise to sunset on the 15th of Feb and the 16th of Feb, not after sunset. Yeah, after sunset yagyas are either performed in temples or in consecrated spaces. Yeah, do not perform them at home. So, and there'll be some other guidelines that our team will share with you. But please remember three key things. The times I've shared with you, please be mindful of that. This is the night of dhyana and sadhana. Whatever supports your dhyana and sadhana on this night is beautiful. Do not push yourself. Whatever supports your dhyana and sadhana on this night. And number 3, which is also very important, Shiva is not about rituals. He's about your inner bhav, inner intention and purity of your longing. So even if you just put, one bel patra, one leaf, one flower at your home, even if you just offer that to your Shiva, he receives it. You do not need to do very elaborate rituals and anushtanas. Yeah. Your bhav, your inner intention is what matters most in this process. Yeah. With that, hope you have a awakening MahaShivRatri sadhana next week. Thank you.
Our next question is from Rahul. This question is slightly long. He says, Pranam Gurudev, I'm currently passing through the most difficult phase of my life. During the 2020 lockdown, while battling depression after losing my beloved, I undertook intense meditation and experimented with advanced practices without proper preparation. This led to severe imbalance in my energy system. During meditation, I experienced a fluid-like sensation in the head that gradually began flowing through the body. For the past 5 years, this continues, often getting blocked, especially around the heart center. While some areas fill with bliss when relaxed, my chest feels heavy, tight, numb, and filled with deep emotional pain. I have had spontaneous out of body experiences and my senses have turned inward. Worldly pleasure no longer attract me. Yet, in this state, I am unable to function fully in material life. I struggle with suicidal thoughts and feel lost. I am now married since 2023 and managing my duties as a medical doctor, but inwardly I am suffering intensely. Kindly show me a way out of this suffering. Pranam at your holy feet.
Please understand this carefully. I just said in the earlier part Shiva and sadhana is about your inner intention. But what we are doing in sadhana, and I meet a lot of people at ashram, a lot of people come to me who've been somehow damaged by various kinds of practices and sadhanas they've been doing. What are we doing here? Who told us? How did we get this data from somewhere that sadhana is about struggle? What are we doing? Please look at it carefully. First, we made our practical life into a struggle. We made our education, our career, our quest to earn money and name and fame. First, we struggle for that kind of life, full of struggle. And then we come into the life of sadhana, of devotion, of purity, and we bring the same mentality of struggle and chase there. Earlier we were chasing the matter, the wealth, name, fame, property. Now we are chasing experiences. Now we are chasing spiritual experiences. So any kind of sadhana, any kind of practice that we hear about, which brings some kind of, experience, we just run after that. Are you chasing experience in the name of sadhana? Or are you really longing for the truth? Please answer it to yourself. Most of the issues are coming because you're chasing the wrong thing. What does a drunkard do? He's chasing experience of bliss when he's drunk. What are you doing? Chasing some experience that you have thought or heard about by doing ABC kind of sadhana / practice. What's the difference then? Somebody is drinking to chase the experience, somebody is doing some kind of sadhana to chase experience. I'm saying, what's the difference? Because the end chase is the same. You both are chasing certain experiences. The one who drinks calls these experience the experience of peace. I'm too stressed, I'm drinking so that I become little peaceful, stress-free. You are doing all the practices because you're chasing experience which you term as bliss. What's the difference, I'm asking? Did Buddha initiate all his sadhana to chase some experiences of bliss? Or was he seeking the truth, the ultimate reality? What was he looking for? Any siddha, any spiritual master, you see their biographies, you meet them. What were they seeking? What was Nanak seeking? What was Kabir seeking? What was Ramana Maharishi seeking? What was Ramakrishna seeking? They were all, nobody was seeking anubhavas or experiences. They were all seeking the highest truth, the ultimate reality. Reality which is beyond this physical realm, which is beyond the perception of your five senses. Because inside your heart knows there is some truth, some reality of this life which is beyond this mask of Maya. Beyond all the suffering, there is some zone of bliss exist. Not as an experience, but as a state. Truth is equal to bliss as a state, not an experience. And when you chase experiences, this is what happens. You do sadhana's practices without being fully initiated. Or even if you're fully initiated, your reason of doing the sadhana are just chasing experiences, then you get trapped. What is the key for sadhana? The key for sadhana is this, who's living this life. Earlier, this piece wanted to change the life because life was bringing a lot of struggle, lot of dukkha. But then one day this being realizes that, well, life is not throwing any dukkhas at you. Life is just flowing as a river. It's you who are creating all the dukkhas. So now, for the very first time in your life, instead of changing that, which is life, you start to change this, which is in your control. Sadhana is about changing this, dissolving this, merging this into the truth, into the ultimate Shiva. That's what sadhana is all about. Because we've created boundaries. These boundaries are the reason for our dukkha. Boundaries of all kinds of boundaries. Maya is playing a certain play with you. You get trapped into that play, you create boundaries. Then because of these boundaries, you feel lonely. You feel alone. You feel as if the whole world is against you. Everybody's throwing dukkha at you. The whole life is throwing dukkha at you, suffering at you. But then you listen to some satsang, you sit at the feet of some guru and you realize, oh, the reason for dukkha is all the boundaries and separations that I've created. And all I'm longing for is absolute purnata, fulfillment, completion of my being. All the parts need to come together. All the boundaries need to dissolve. Will this work happen outside? No. You start to realize that this is an inner work. Step by step. I have to change the way I look at life. I have to change the way I feel and touch life. I have to change the way I relate with people. I relate with life. This need to transform, not that. And that's where sadhana begins. To transform this. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. To realize that I am that Shiva. Realize, not to experience. Because experiences are trap. Somebody's getting out of body experience. Somebody's getting some kind of experience. All traps. So what are these experiences that we experience in the spiritual journey? Well, they're just passing milestones. You're on a highway. After a few kilometers, a board comes that you had to travel 300 kilometers. Now it's 275. Now it's 250. Milestones. What do? Do you just stay with them? Do you take them seriously? Or they're just indicators? So every experience is just an indicator. It comes as a byproduct of your sadhana. It goes. You move on. But if you chase experience, or if you collect experience, or if you get attached to the experience, trapped. And then the whole sadhana also becomes misery, a suffering. We were experiencing suffering in life. We initiated ourselves into sadhana so that we change something in our own understanding and start to see this very life. Every breath that I'm consuming, I'm taking as the moment of bliss. Every breath. But if I bring the same mentality of suffering here also, just look at your condition. Even with so many anubhavas, experiences, the suffering is still on. It's becoming more suffering. What is the problem? This person who was suffering in life has brought the whole mentality of suffering, of dukkha, in sadhana also. Sadhana is about inner dissolution. Start to see the one who is suffering. And you will realize it's your mind that is suffering, not the one who's sitting behind that, which is the pure witnesser. Mind is a construct of the ego, created construct of the ego, not real. Jumbled up thoughts and experiences and emotions is what we call mind. And mind is past. Big part of mind is memory. So any experience that happens to you is now part of the memory. It's gone, finished. You are here, fresh, new, in front of Shiva every moment, with every breath. This is the moment that you need to seize. That's the sadhana. And when you start to be established in this moment, you start to see the play of the mind as a separate entity. And you as an observer, as Shiva Chetana, independent from this play of mind, which is memory, thoughts, emotions, all put together. You follow what I'm saying? Enter into the ease. Look at Shiva. He's sitting in ease, not chasing anything. He's just sitting, not wanting to be somebody, not wanting to reach somewhere, just here. Is that difficult sadhana to do, I'm asking? Just be here with every breath, with patience in your heart, with longing in your heart. Just be here. One wing that you have is the love of this longing. The other wing that you have is eternal patience. That's all. That's all the two wings that you need to be in sadhana. And then the beauty of sadhana appears. There's nothing like more beautiful, more joyful, more blissful than walking this path. I'm not even talking about destination. Then walking this path. Sometimes the tears of longing comes, but they too are blissful journey, blissful part of this journey. Nothing can be more blissful. But if this is becoming a struggle for you, you really need to look at it carefully. Of all the things on this earth, there's one thing which is absolutely joyful, where your joy is not dependent on anything outside, and that's your sadhana. That's your patience and that's your longing. I've heard a very beautiful story, I think, from the bhakti tradition somewhere. Once there was a seeker of truth, a sadhak. And for many years he was in his sadhana. And his guru was a little confused because he realized that this sadhak is ripened enough to realize the truth. He's fully ripened to realize the truth. Why he's not still realizing the truth? What's the missing link? So once he takes this sadhak, just to test this, he takes this sadhak in a big hall. This hall is it's a white color. Everything is white inside the hall. And it's a round hall. And there are many doors on the walls of this hall. So imagine a big round hall, white in color, with many doors. White in color with one door. That door is also merged in the white color, but it's a door. So the guru brings this sadhak into this hall, put a blindfold into the eyes, ask him to touch the walls, find the door and enter into the door. And there he will find the truth. So sadhak says, all right. He enters into the hall, touches the wall, start to walk with the wall, blindfolded but walking the walking the hall with touching the walls of this big hall. And finally, when he's touching, he found the door. But he didn't open the door. He behaved as if he didn't realize the door. He just moved on. And he kept doing this for a few hours. Then Guru came back into the room. He said, I know you found the door, but why didn't you come out of the door? I told you the truth is awaiting for you outside the door. And the sadhak says, I am in the bliss of seeking. This play of hide and seek with my Ishvara, with my Shiva, is so beautiful. Throughout the hall, when I'm walking and touching the door, I'm chanting the name of my Lord, Shiva, Shiva. That chanting, when I'm calling in deep longing of my bhakti, in my devotion, the name of Shiva, I'm so blissed out in that process. When I reach the door, I know it's the door. But I'm enjoying this. I'm in the bliss of this longing. I'm in the bliss of this sadhana. I'm in the bliss of this seeking. I don't want to open and enter into the door. What is the story telling you? That even the path of seeking is blissful. And if it is not becoming blissful for you, there is some problem. There's something that we're not doing right. There's some focus which is not on the right thing. There's some impurity in our intention. We need to really figure it out. What I've shared with you today is the state of a lot of sadhaks. Very important sutras that I've shared with you today. Listen to them again and again, and you will realize the mistake that you're making. And you will also know in your heart how to fix it. And in the end, I would just say one thing. How does this journey progress? Often I've shared the formula. Today once again, I will share the formula with you. It's a 5-step formula. You bring these 5 things together, sadhana is blissful then. Any one element is missing, then there's a problem in the sadhana. What are these 5 things? Ishta. You must have an Ishta, the presiding deity of your sadhana. So your Ishta could be Shiva, could be Shakti, Krishna, Ram, any Ishta, any God form you connect with. Very important. On the top is Ishta. Second, I've often said, is Guru. Ideally Guru in the living form. Second component to make you progress on this journey. Third component, your sadhana, whatever practice that your Guru tradition has given you, and your discipline and your repetition of that practice. Number 4, your Sangha, community of seekers with you who are all walking the same path. And number 5, Seva, where you do things not for your self-gain. You do things for the well-being of the world, for others. So far, people, beings who appear other to you. Doing seva to them, for them. When you bring these 5 elements together, there's bliss in the journey itself. Then you're not focusing or chasing any anubhava, any experience. Then every moment you are established here, walking the path. And the path is beautiful and blissful. Hope this helps. Thank you.
The third question is from Savita ji from Gurugram. Her question is everything predestined, or can we change our destiny and Sanskāras through sadhana and by working consciously on our patterns?
Savita, not everything is predestined in our life. Not everything. So I'm sitting here having this satsang with you, having this, sipping this cup of water. Is this sipping cup of water predestined? Of course not. So what is predestined in our life and what can be worked upon or changed. Certain major events, Savita, are predestined. Let's look at it from the very beginning. Why do we take birth? We take birth for largely two reasons. Every new incarnation that you take largely for two reasons. Reason number one, some unfulfilled desires of the past life. Your own unfulfilled desire that bring you back here. Number two, some karmic debt. Some karmic debt that you have to clear off. You have to come back and take this incarnation. Two key reasons, right? Now, once you take birth because of these two key reasons, some major events will be planted or predestined in your life. Because some karmic debt has to be paid off and some desires have to be lived, fulfilled. So some major events are predestined. Let's say your marriage, your children, the kind of career you choose, etc., etc. Some disease that come to the body, major disease I'm saying, not seasonal flu. Yeah, some accident, anything. You suddenly win a lottery and become a millionaire overnight. These are specific predestined points in your journey. But most of your life you are creating, I'm using the word creating, based on your Sanskāras, which are past impressions. These past impressions could be from the past life or since the time you've taken birth. Most of your life is designed by your Sanskāras, minus these major events of your life. But rest of your life is designed by you, created by you, based on your Sanskāras. So if you have to create a life that you want, let's say a life of sadhana, what needs to happen? You need to slowly start to work on your Sanskāras. You've got to change the Sanskāras, which is your attitude towards things, towards your own self. Slowly, when you, as part of your sadhana, as part of your practice, you start to work on your samskaras, your attitudes, your conditioning, your perceptions, your relationship with your own self, with the world out there. When you consciously start to work on this, and I'm using the word consciously, you start to create the life, a new life that you want. A new reality that you want to live. Otherwise, what is happening? Set of samskaras. What are samskaras? Conditionings, behavior patterns, attitudes, that they are stored as part of your system, even cellular memory. All that is stored. What is stored is past. So this is all memory. This is all your past life. Past karmas of this life or previous life. But this is all past baggage. When you live unconsciously, every decision that happens in you is triggered by this past baggage. You're not taking any new decision. There's a pattern. It's like a software. It's like a pattern. It's like a machine. A certain situation comes in your life, the same pattern presses a button, same pattern follows itself. So people come to me and ask, why do I keep attracting the wrong kind of person again and again in my life? Well, you're attracting because you're just living unconsciously, and these patterns and these samskaras are governing your decisions, governing your behavior, governing your frequency. Please understand this. Why do you attract a certain situation again and again in your life, or a certain person again, certain kind of people in your life? Because of these samskaras, these patterns, you are vibrating at a certain frequency. And what you attract is based on this frequency. It's like a radio device. If this radio device is tuned on the news from the war zone, then this radio device will only receive news of the war zone. Because of the past samskara, which is in the radio case, the setting of the frequency. But if consciously you retune the radio frequency to love songs, to romantic songs, now your radio will receive the romantic song. Now you tune into the bhajan and kirtan, your radio will start to receive bhajan and kirtan. You tune it to satsang, it will receive satsang. You understand what I'm saying? Your past samskara are like the pre-tuned radio frequency. And most of the time, this pre-tuned radio frequency is of lower vibration. The vibration of fear, attachment, jealousy, anger. Our internal radio stations are tuned on these frequencies. So when a major life event happened because of your karmic debt or your desire, after that every decision that you take based on this lower frequency of insecurity. So you enter into a relation because your pre-sanskara frequency is insecurity. Now every decision in this relation you take is based on insecurity. Here comes impurity of the relationship. Here the love goes out of the box. Here everything that you're doing in this relationship is based on insecurity. Same the story with grief. Same is the story with non-acceptance. Something happens in your life and you are not accepting this. You're cursing either yourself or the other or the situation. You're cursing either yourself or the other or the situation. You forget that this was part of my karmic debt. But because your tuned samskara based frequency is cursing, non-accepting, frustrating, being angry at, now you create further samskaras. Now you're reinforcing the same samskara of non-acceptance, of curse, of anger, of frustration, of pain. And now this will repeat itself in different forms. Loss of money, some break in relationship, some health crisis, some social status crisis. These are different forms for the same frequency to work. You follow what I'm saying? So this entire life we can recreate based on our will. The strongest with that we have as human being is our will and the strength of the mind. But right now what is happening in our case, our mind has been blocked by the past samskaras of lower frequency. So how do you start? Where do you start? Simple formula. You start to up your frequency a little. All these are lower frequency. The anger, the grief, the frustration, the pain, the anguish, the curse, the non-accepting, the frustration, jealousy. This has become our life. This is lower frequency. Infuse higher frequency emotions into it. What are higher frequency emotions? Appreciation. Wow, beautiful sunlight today on my balcony. A bird came and just sat on my balcony. I'm observing, I'm appreciating. Slightest, small little things of life. I took a deep breath, there was fragrance of some flower. Maybe it was jasmine. Beautiful. Appreciation. You think it's not doing anything, you're wrong. You're upping, enhancing your frequency channel. Slowly, This will delete your old attitude / old samskaras and implant new attitude / new samskara. Even this is a samskara. Samskara in itself is not a wrong word. Lower frequency samskara is a problem. But if slowly we change our samskara to higher frequency of love, of appreciation, of gratitude, of devotion, of sharing, of connecting, these are also samskaras, but now you're at a very high frequency samskaras. Now, this higher frequency start to attract and create higher frequency zones, relations, situations for you. Now all situations, all decisions that you will take will come from a very conscious space of higher frequency. Slowly this will start to create a new life for you, new reality for you. The same life which had become dukkha will start to become blissful. Same life. So where do you have to start from? Increasing your frequency, increasing your vibration by observing, appreciating this moment. I come back to again in the present moment. You're walking in the present moment. Let that walk be the walk of appreciation and gratitude. That you're able to walk. You're able to breathe. You're able to sit. You're able to sleep. Gratitude for every moment of your life. And then slowly you will start to see deep devotion for this life will start to happen. And then if you're destined and if you put your free will together, you will start to move and walk towards your Satya, your Shiva, your awakening. That is how the direction of life starts to change itself. But we start from very small. It appears small, but this small is also very big. So the sutra for you today is art of accepting, appreciation and paying gratitude. Just develop this art. Accepting, appreciating, paying gratitude. Just start to follow this formula with everything in your life. Yeah. So not everything is pre-designed. Some major events are. But apart from those major events, you really design your life based on your samskara, which are basically your frequency / your vibrations. And that can be changed by conscious effort and strong will. And that's how Buddhas create their life. That's how Nanak create his life. That's how every enlightened master, that's how every sadhak of substance create his or her life. I wish and pray that you too get inspiration and strength enough to create a new reality for you. Hope it helps. Thank you.